Hey, as a heads up, I am a part of the Magic Online Content Creator Program, which means that I now have a second Magic Online account. So if you ever see DB_ThrabenU, that is me on a Daybreak Games account. So that is me. If you see me in the leagues, say hello. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. And today I'm going to be playing with a card that I gave a lot of shit for on my podcast, and we're going to see if it's actually good. So, Simulacrum Synthesizer is a new card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. When it ETBs, scry 2. Whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield, you essentially make an Urza Saga construct token. You know, the 0/0 colorless token, +1/+1 for each artifact you control. And the reason I crapped on this card on the podcast is that the floor of this card is 3 mana scry 2, which is awful. And then the card won the Legacy Challenge. So obviously, I need to shut up and test the card and kind of evaluate it for myself. I am still very skeptical about this card, but I am a big believer in testing things. Even if you think you're right, even if you think you're wrong, test it, see what the card does. So Matt, aka Punishing Waterfalls, won one of the Legacy challenges with this deck list. Oh, let's change these to actual ancient teams. Hold on. Oh, much better. Okay, so Matt won the Legacy Challenge with this, and the deck design is mostly from a Japanese player. I've played a bunch of their decks on the channel, Marosh06. I believe they were inspired partially by another Japanese player named Satoru. And this deck is pretty cool. It features Laospur Boots, which, like, chef's kiss. We know that is just a perfectly designed Magic card. And Skorpekh Lord from the Warhammer 40k set. This is a 3/2 with Menace, which is already pretty good. It gives your other artifact creatures, you know, if you have other artifact creatures for some reason, +1/+0 and Menace, and it has Unearth, so it comes back if you're not facing exile-based removal. So we are going to have some of the aggressive elements of an 8-cast deck with this kind of Urza Saga, like, essentially pseudo-affinity style deck where we can play a Simulacrum Synthesizer and then vomit out a bunch of free or cheap artifacts, many of which are going to draw more cards and allow us to continue a chain and get increasingly larger numbers of Urza Saga tokens. This is a neat one in this deck list. Its baseline is pretty bad. It's a 1/2 with Flash that draws a card. Like, this is like slow Elvish Visionary. But it has really high upside because it has Squad. So you can pay 2 any number of times when it enters the battlefield to make that many tokens that are copies of it. And I believe those copies then also trigger this. So that's pretty neat. The sideboard is kind of unexciting here. We have an ambitious one of Chill in the sideboard to kind of bail us out of some things. There's some stuff that I'm unsure about in the deck building here. Like, Gaia's Cradle seems a little bit sus to me. We do have some ETB tapped lands for Metalcraft reasons. I'm not sure how good Sicarian Infiltrator really is. Like, this is a card that has synergy with the rest of the deck, but I don't know. I'm skeptical. But I'm really excited to try this one out. I've actually been waiting for multiple days to give this one a go. And now that my Daybreak account is here, I can do that. So I think with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the league here. Should you find you need some physical cards, please check out toamagic.com, that's Tales of Adventure, and use promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order. They're great. Buy cards from them. They like Eternal Magic. And there's a bunch of sweet stuff, you know, Duel's Power, all that stuff there. Let's battle. All right, I think I've got all my stops and stuff set up as normal. I'm just going to assume that Urza Saga begin vomiting construct tokens into play is a keepable hand. That is a hedge maze, probably indicative of some sort of like Uro or Murktide control deck list of some kind. But we shall see. Holy Urza Saga Batman. Okay. Do that. Okay, opponent junked a Fatal Push. Maybe some sort of Bug Beans deck. I wonder if I even play these out now. It's like discard versus random things that can blow stuff up. I'll play them out. And then I'll go ahead and just pass the turn. We'll play this guy a little bit later. Yeah, that's totally fine. No big deal. Wasteland's very good. I do have more Urza Sagas, though. I just want to cycle this? I don't think so. Like, this is just going to be a free 4/4 that might end up cantripping, like, just a touch later on. So let's play new Saga. I think I'm okay with just playing this. So 4 artifacts, this costs 3 mana. I'm not willing to give up the Lotus Petals to do that, because the Lotus Petals increase the size of the Urza Saga tokens a lot. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I just cast a Frogmite. Beans, you got it. Gaia's Cradle. If I play Ancient Tomb, make a construct token, I control 5 artifacts. I could just play this turn. Probably okay. My life total probably doesn't matter that much in this matchup. Go Frog Pal. 18. Let's make a token. Costs 2 mana. It costs me a Lotus Petal. I think it's just fine to do this. Like, I'm okay trading for Force of Will plus blue card here. Like, that's great for a, 4/4 common. So now Lava Spur Boots threatens just... Oh, okay. They bail themselves out of that. I'm a little surprised. I'll shut up if they just, like, immediately remove my Urza Saga. Sure. Like, I still just get this Urza Saga token, and it's going to have haste. Ooh, that is nice for another turn down the line. We give up the Lotus Petal. This is a 4/4. I think it is still just boots. It's a little awkward to, like, play out a Cradle here. Like, this is kind of a lot of wasted mana, but, this is 12 damage. I don't think we get to complain when we are swinging for 12. Get him. Boots is a format-changing card. Like, it's crazy how impactful this uncommon is. And, like, I am going to potentially stop blocks from something like a Murktide Regent from mattering too. Like, gross. Nice. Ward is also just, like, making removal less efficient. Oh, okay. Those. All right. We gotta change some display things here. All right. Everything is big. This might be a sideboard 0 cards or very close to it. I'm not super interested in Chalice. I'm not interested in Leyline. My blue count for Force of Will is actually pretty low. I'm not the most interested in that. Don't have ways to take Beanstalk out of play in the sideboard or anything. Synthesizer legendary? No. Those can stack. That's kind of gross. Okay. My Pithing Needles? Maybe not the best. Like, this is just a artifact that I can play to increase the size of other artifact things and, like, contribute to Metalcraft and stuff. I might just play a Fluster so that once I am ahead on board, I can have just a little bit of interaction to push me over the top. Shadow Spear usually doesn't matter, but I don't mind having, like, the Spell Bomb and the Shadow Spear as artifacts to play out early that can help me survive a Murktide or something else that turns the corner on the game very quickly. I could see playing one more Fluster over one of these artifacts, though. I could also see this game going long enough that I could cut Drum, or, like, my opponent wants to remove my stuff, so I could cut Cradle. Cradle might be a bit of an ask on the draw. This hand is a land away from being nuts. Just, like, patchwork into patchwork, multiple ward threats, but I think this is just too clunky and too risky. Is this acceptable? So this is turn 2 Frogmite. Hopefully, turn 3 this guy. I think I have higher upside 5-card hands than this. Alright. Alright, tapped land, second land, Patchwork Automaton. I'm definitely keeping. Artifact count is low for this, and then I think I'm going to get rid of the Frogmite. I think I'm going to keep the Boots in my hand. I am going to need a little bit of love from the top of the deck here for sure. Metallic Rebuke is a little slow. So the scariest thing that can happen is probably just my opponent slamming and up the beanstalk, and like they have that in play before I have any threat on board. We dodged that. That's really nice. Frogmite came back. We are in the business of jamming cards. My opponent has something like a Fatal Push. They have to do it on their turn because of the ward, so I kind of have decent mana efficiency here. No use of mana from my opponent. I'm so fucking scared. So this is always a land. I think the plan is, I want to start scaling up this creature. Now Frogmite costs 1. I can go ahead and cast that. So now I can either play this and swing in for 6, or hold up Metallic Rebuke, tapping 1 and 2 to reduce cost, which I think is what I'm going to do. And I believe multiple instances of ward can stack. Like, I think that's how that works. I believe you have an instance of ward 2 and an instance of ward 1. Alright, something's happening. Force of Vigor, targeting my 2 creatures. So I will make them pay for the ward, and then I will Metallic Rebuke this. Tapping down my stuff. Do we dodge Force of Will and Days and Friends? Oh, we do. Fuck yeah. That is quite good for me. What did my opponent pitch there? Witherbloom command. Got it. I'm now attacking for a very decent amount of damage. Some of my opponent's efficient removal, like Fatal Push, is slightly awkward versus the creatures that I have because of Ward or CMC4. Witherbloom command, junking my boots and getting a land back. Yeah, they can return Mystic Sanctuary to put a Force of Vigor back on top. Although they don't have green showing currently. But it's certainly good. Oh, that was the card that I was... But Force of Vigor. Maybe we sandbag that for a turn. It's not like I'm getting extra out of it with Squad if I play the Urza Saga. I don't know, maybe I play it to play around Days. Like, that's a thought. Yeah, I think I'll hold the Urza Saga for a turn. Send in for 6. Alright. Opponent has 3 cards. One of them is going to be Force of Vigor. They presumably have the green land if they put that on top of their library. It's really awkward if they don't. I guess they could have a green card to pitch as well. Oh, it is more Selection. That is not a green land. How big is that Murktide? Pretty big. My opponent has Force of Vigor and Unknown card. Oh, this is awkward. So I believe that I am casting this to continue scaling up this guy. It just kills me in 3 hits if my opponent can, stabilize. I think I have to play that out. It's awkward. I guess I also don't 100% know that they still have the Force. It could be the top card of their library currently from the Brainstorm. Ooh. Now they almost certainly have a green card to pitch cast that. Then they can remove my Urza Saga before it gets abilities. Or not. I think next turn I'm probably going for broke and just going for a lethal swing. I don't think I want to swing in this turn. I'm not super expecting board wipes from my opponent. Alright, my opponent's holding up lots of mana. One thing that I have to keep in mind is that Force of Vigor represents taking a massive portion of my resources off the board. I wonder if I Ancient Tomb here. I might draw more blue things that I want to do. I think I am going to do that. Not that this is guaranteed to resolve or anything. I think I like this. Do I cast this into Bowmasters? I can probably think about it post-combat. I think I just want my opponent to expend resources dealing with my shit, and then play this, rather than potentially make my opponent have a larger orc and more pings prior to this combat step. Okay. Ward confirmed strong. My opponent can take this out. This is still lethal incoming. Okay, we played around that. That is not going to do what you want it to do, friend. I'm sorry. So, no orc. That now has to go here. Yeah. So this puts my opponent to 2. Now, we do this around Bowmaster, which is just gross. This is fine. I am happy enough to just play this. And we'll just pull an instant or sorcery out of the graveyard here. Pull out Lorien revealed. I don't think it super matters. Like, my opponent needs some sort of Hurkyl's Recall caliber card. I can nuke their graveyard so they can't play the Murktide, but I don't know that that even matters. Yeah, we just ran them over. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. Okay, I'm on the fence about this one. So it's turn 1 land, turn 2 land, no real play. Turn 3 Urza Saga. I think we can just do better. All right. Mox Opal, Seat, play Springleaf Drum. These on 5 mana just like draw 2. This is gonna be a keep. Maybe I keep the second Ancient Tomb for the second one of these. I don't know. That's a lot of life to lose, especially when I'm on the draw. All right, well, we know what's coming. The second Ancient Tomb, definitely a bit of a scary proposition against this deck. All right, so Mox Opal is online. I don't have anything to do with it, unfortunately. We are purely racing in game 1. I don't have much interaction for my opponent. So this is just going to be like, do they have a Namesticker Goblin into something that's scary? Uh-oh. All right, they did not absolute high roll. They got a 4. But that's still really good. I'm getting hit for 8 here prior to the Battlecry Goblin trigger, which means that I'm actually getting hit for 9. Pithing Needle is late to the party. So 1-2. Not trading in combat. I think it's clear what deck I'm on already, so I'm going to see if I can dig my way out of this. A Mox Opal. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. Let's make it 5 artifacts. Shut off Battlecry Goblin. Play a new Mox Opal. So this little guy costs 2 mana. Means that I can go bam bam to put a large body in play. I am not stable. If my opponent attacks in, I take 4, I am down to 5. My opponent has more mana than it looks like they have. Yeah, there goes a token. All right, all those things have to attack. I'm not really sure that that's a blessing, though. This is still triggering. I'll take 5. I don't think I get to block this one. I think this is an every point of life is precious situation. I think I'm realistically cooked here. Hold on, what if I make multiple copies of this? Just instant speed, flash in 2 of these. Also thinking about drawing Shadow Spear. Just short on that. All right. Let's go for broke here. I want like a thought monitor. This is too slow here. So I can block 3 things, and then the remaining damage slips through and kills me. I like Dismember. I don't mind Chill to make the red spells cost more. And I probably need Force of Will. So Soul Guide Lantern can get out. Metallic Rebuke is probably the slower than Force of Will. My blue count is not the highest, though. I might need to just keep all of the blue cards to make Force of Will viable. I'm not sure that Aether Spellbomb is good enough. It has text, it returns creatures, but I think I am more likely to search out one of these 3 cards. Assuming I board in all this stuff, I still need 5 more cuts, which is a lot. How am I winning? I think the answer is I equip a Shadow Spear to something and gain a lot of life / trample over. This also just not invalidates, but makes blocks worse. Maybe I do some of the affinity dudes. That makes Thought Monitor worse, but Thought Monitor's job is probably to pitch to Force of Will. I am unsure on my boarding plan here. Hey, Thought Monitor's job is to pitch to Force of Will. Keep Reno. I think I play my Lord on turn 1 instead of immediate Urza's Saga. So this lets me play Urza's Saga on 2, immediately equip Shadow Spear to this, and then be gaining like 4 life per turn cycle with Menace. Alright, cool. So, do this, play Shadow Spear, life total go up, life total go down. 4/3 lifelink trample Menace online, attacking as of turn 2. That's pretty good when my opponent is using an Ancient Tomb for acceleration. This Thought Monitor is pretty... Fuck, that's annoying. It's a pretty long way from actually doing what I need it to do. So a hope here is actually that this is like a Sticker Goblin. That forces attacks into Shadow Spear. Anyway, the hope was that that was just a Sticker Goblin so that I could counter the follow-up. That did not happen. I'll take 1. Sure. I'll bridge it up. I think I am fine to attack. Like, I think I remain the aggressor here, given that I'm just a turn cycle away from attacking with 2 Urza Saga Construct tokens at the same time. Well, I'll take my tempo play here. Yeah, 100% taking that. I think their plan was to do that and make something like a Muxus uncounterable. Yeah. We take those. I don't think I'm going to change my sideboarding. Like, I still think the Force of Will type effects are very necessary. My opponent can't always have Cavern of Souls. The impact of this is a lot worse on the draw. I think after my opponent mulligans, I'm willing to keep this. It's a little sketch. Like, sometimes my opponent just goes under this. I'm going to hope that their mulligan slows them down enough that the chill matters. I think if my opponent keeps 7, I pitch this hand 100% of the time. Yeah, see, this is the sort of thing that we want to see here. Hey, that ain't bad either. That's really good at making the chill work. You can have that. Yep. Given that I have 2 Urza Sagas in hand, I can't let that resolve. So we're gonna Force of Will, pitch the Synthesizer, and then hopefully kind of effectively lock my opponent out of the game. It probably doesn't literally lock them out of the game, but this is pretty brutal. Okay, I mean, that helps. Yeah, no play. So now, hopefully, I just kind of ride Urza's Saga to victory here. We'll play that Mox Opal and call it a turn. Yikes. The Miser's Chill. Absolutely popping off here. 5/5. Ooh, that's a... yeah, absolutely disgusting. So, 5/5 into 6/6 into 7/7. Attack with 2 7/7s. And one of them gets +1 from Lava Spur Boots, so we basically just dead our opponent in 1 attack step. Alright, I don't think I like this one. So I can Mist Vault Bridge into Opal, not have Metalcraft. Yeah, like, despite the fact that I have multiple of these, this just feels clunky. It's already a 6-card hand, kind of. Alright, tapped Bridge, turn 2, Otawara, Patchwork. Turn 3, Frogmite Grow. This has potential. I don't know that I want to go down more cards than just this. Because, like, I do kind of need a critical density of cards for my affinity stuff to pop off. We're kind of in a situation where if everything goes right and continues to go right for, like, 2 turns, it's smooth sailing. I got combo vibes. You have combo vibes? Beautiful land. My called shot is Sneak and Show. Okay. So yeah. Alright, control 2 artifacts, can't Frogmite or anything right now. Blue-white control? Blue-white control. I had the right, like, boomer called shot. Wrong color combo. Ooh. So, I think we go Yaw and play out this little fella. It's pretty unlikely to randomly reveal a 3. It is possible. Like, Teferi is a card that I would expect to see in this deck. Mystic Sanctuary, cool. So now I control 3 artifacts, meaning that this costs 1 mana. And we can go ahead and crash on in. We're going to be pretty bad against a Terminus that my opponent sets up with like a Brainstorm or a Ponder. This is a matchup where as things go long, that Synthesizer card that I haven't done anything with would be pretty hot. Supreme Verdict is also a big problem card here. Like, I get a little bit of help from Unearth. It's not a fetch land. That is concerning. So Brainstorm into immediate Terminus is the scary thing. How much mana do you cost right now? You cost 3 mana right now. I think I am willing to cast this while I still have all of the artifacts. This is also, again, something that we don't expect Counterbalance to go and mess with. Drawing the artifact counterspell thingy might be ideal here. Alright, we're in play. So this seems fine to cast. I can present lethal this turn, right? Like, that is a thing that I am legally allowed to attempt to do. I am so afraid of second Brainstorm Terminus, though, that I think I hold some stuff back. I just want to be able to have some artifacts. Alright, it's 2. So no second Brainstorm, but probably Terminus on top. Yeah. Could have fucking gotten away with it. Alright. I'll vomit some more artifacts into play, and hopefully it'll be fine. Drawing that Synthesizer thingy would be hot. Like that and Urza Saga are really strong right now. Sure. Hey, that's one of the draws that I wanted. Frog. Chase the Mind Sculptor. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lava Spur Boots off of Urza Saga. Incredibly threatening, by the way. March. Sure. That's a clean answer to Urza Saga, which is really strong here. Sure. Opponent clears a counterspell off the top. Is perfectly reasonable. And I imagine we just see Jace and immediately bounce this out of play. My opponent can do that for a couple of turn cycles. 1 artifact, 2 artifact, 3 artifact, 4 artifact. Cost 3, it needs 6 total mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have that. I'm just not going to show my opponent the new card then. I will happily just take some extra damage from my Ancient Tomb. Alright, my opponent gets to do a little selection here. It's very good if they find a Swords to Plowshares style card, then they can remove this and actually use Jace to Brainstorm. Alright, they didn't. We just get the bounce. I do need to close out this game in the not too distant future. Ugh. Oh. I thought that was just going to be put a Terminus into hand so that, like, Jace Brainstorm Terminus would be something that they can quickly present. And now I'll play the new card. Oh, please counter it. Oh, this is delicious. This is delicious. Unearth. Hello. Conan is at 2 life. That, I don't even feel bad. That was dirty. Okay, I don't know that I'm going to sideboard very much. I don't think I want Forces. I don't think I want Dismembers. I think Flusters and Chalices are things that I can consider. I think Aether Spellbomb is not particularly a good card in the matchup. I may, however, want to leave it in the deck because Triumph of St. Catherine is like 100% in my opponent's deck, and just bouncing that giant life-linking body out of play might be what I need to push myself over the edge. I don't know that I need Shadow Spear. I think I'm just going to junk that. Soulgain Lantern is kind of mid. It can disrupt some Mystic Sanctuary stuff. I'm not like the most excited about it. I think I'm going to go this out, 2 Flusters in. Fluster just helps me fight against the Terminus style cards. Not Supreme Verdict, though. I don't think it's wrong to board in Chalice. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think if my opponent is playing like March Prismatic Endings to Fairies, that just ends up being a little bit too much not in its favor. All right, Island, Lava Spur Boots, and maybe Mox Opal. Turn 2, play Saga, or not Mox Opal, just Island, Boots. Turn 2, Saga, Patchwork, into Opal, control 3 artifacts. This stuff's not super castable immediately. I think this is just short of a keepable hand, but the 2 draw steps that I am going to get before I play Patchwork probably push it over the edge most of the time. I don't want cards that look like that. That's not what I am going for here. This card is so insane that I'm almost like afraid to cast it and lose it. This just represents so much damage, including a potential Patchwork Automaton attack next turn. Ooh. That's still in, despite the incredibly varied mana costs of my deck. That is surprising to me. I don't have this next land for Urza Saga, which is very scary. It's fine as long as Mox Opal resolves. So we're looking for not land on top. Swords to Plowshares on top is totally fine. Now we Mox Opal. So this is 3 artifacts. I can't play this because Swords to Plowshares is on top, which means I am doing this. This will confirm my theory. Yeah, so it is 2 different instances of Ward, just like I thought earlier. And we'll go ahead and bash in. So the multiple instances of Ward means that it's hard for the Patchwork Automaton to just leave play. I really would like to draw a land. So are we going to see a fetch land? Not exactly. We see Tundra, which means Swords to Plowshares is represented for my opponent's turn. Okay, that's a land. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. If I make this Urza Saga token, I just give my opponent a valid Swords to Plowshares target. So I think I cast this Spell Bomb to grow the Patchwork, but then don't really... Oh, there's just a Triumph coming. That makes this card very good. Yeah, I'll just hit my opponent for 4. We will call that good enough. And then I can make 2 sets of Urza Saga tokens and then bounce the Triumph out of play. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. Yeah, this is totally fine. Just onboard answer is here. Oh, an opponent does not have more mana. That's bad. That's really bad. I think they're dead. So I'll just go make another construct token, get like a Pithing Needle, put that on Jace, play a seat, return Triumph to hand, and then we'll move the boots over here and attack for a gajillion. I don't even know if I'm capable of counting this high. Absolutely fucking disgusting. All right, what are we working with here? Yes. Yes is the answer. All right, Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal. Probably play the Lord prior to just investing into Urza Saga. We'll take 2 to do this. So Frogmite costs 2 mana right now, so we're not interested in that. We'll probably do it next turn. Ah. My opponent's deck is also going to be fast. Maybe faster than mine. Uh-oh. So the untap brings them up to 4 mana. Please don't Karn me, I guess. Oh god, there's more mana. So, oh no, is that it? Nope. Okay. Yes. So that's a shit ton of mana, but that's not a payoff card. Okay. So now let's finally play the Synthesizer. I get to scry 2. So I control 2 artifacts right now. Not interested in that. That can go on the bottom. I think I'm interested in this. Let's just confirm. That costs 2 mana, so I can't do it yet. I probably kill my opponent, not on my next combat step, but the following combat step. Do you have a payoff card? There's the untap. Okay. The answer is no. So 1, 2, 3. This is 4. Frogmite is free. Alright. So then free Frogmite, which triggers this, which gives me the extra thing that I need to do this, which is gross. Draw 2. Mox Opal doesn't do anything this turn. Guess I will just put it into play in case something weird happens where my hand gets dumped or something. Yeah, we're going to attack for like 40 next turn. Opponent has to Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards this. And they did not. Good God. This goes 0 to 60 real fast. But the only thing that we have used it for in these first couple of rounds is just, like, pitching to Force of Will. Unfortunately, I don't really have much for this matchup. I can Chalice on 1 to stop key-type cards. I can Force of Will as an emergency break. Soul Guide Lantern's not particularly strong. Aether Spellbomb's not particularly strong. I might end up keeping it anyway. I need some amount of insurance versus opposing Urza Saga Construct tokens. And like that insurance can be the lifelink, so we don't lose that war. Maybe Aether Spellbomb to bounce some tokens. I think that's the one that I'm going to do. Force of Wills are the first thing that I want in here. Some number of these can probably go. I think I need these. Springleaf Drum is probably expendable. I don't think I want to cut blue cards here. I have very limited amounts of counter magic, so I think I need to make my Force of Will count matter. With another mana or two, this is viable, but not as it currently stands. This has a stop. So if I keep this, it's something like turn 1 Seat, Pithing Needle, probably the 1 Ring Blind. Turn 2, do this, Lava Spur Boots, Force of Will my opponent's first relevant card, hope to top deck threats. Doesn't feel great. I'm going to say that I will very reluctantly keep this and just try to believe in my deck. I'm gonna let that happen. Yep. I think I am trying to counter the thing that made my opponent's hand keepable, which is probably not the Monolith. So, yeah. It's possible I hold this for a turn since I don't have a threat yet. It's like sometimes my opponent will play one of the keys and I can get to the appropriate thing. I think it is worth risking giving my opponent like the 1 ring draw. Yeah, now I can Pithing Needle their Urza Saga if nothing else scary happens. Fuck. Okay. I guess punished for not putting it on the 1 ring like I kind of intended on doing when I kept the hand. Such is life. We'll shut that off. This can be 1 mana. I'll hold the Mox Opal. The Mox Opal doesn't matter and could matter for something like a Patchwork in a minute. We're going to attack out of spite. Does not do any damage because of the 1 ring protection. Alright, Urza Saga ticks up. Voltaic Key, sure. Alright. My hand does a whole lot of nothing. And my opponent is about to maybe gain access to 2 different keys. We'll see what Urza Saga tutors up here. Yeah, so now they have 2 keys with different names, so this unlocks the mana. That's 5 after both untaps. Fuck. Okay, no immediate play. I don't have the appropriate amount of mana to get to a Force of Will here, so I'm just going to continue to hold these artifacts in case they matter. My opponent's at 12. They actually can't currently untap the Grim Monolith. You know, a land gets them there, a 0-cost artifact gets them there. That's a good land. So we're going to see the untap. Is there a follow-up play? There is. Okay. Honestly, could have been worse for me. Another one? Sure. My opponent is going to have some large Urza Saga Construct tokens. Alright, well, I have a lot of mana. And a Force of Will that I guess technically does stuff. But this is not where I want to be. I guess my opponent's 1 ring is kind of scary for them. That is bleeding them 1 damage per turn cycle. But if they have a Shadow Spear, that just like doesn't matter. That is the 1 ring. I will counter that. I know it is Pithing Needled, but I do not want to give my opponent that one turn of protection and allow them to take this counter off. So my opponent can now make their construct token. This stops my Frogmite from attacking. That's not what I'm looking for. We have sort of bottomed out here. So I think this fully comes down to, like, does my opponent have Shadow Spear in their deck right now? If they do, they just, like, gain 10 health here, and it's very hard for me. Ooh. Oh. Well, they're at 6 life. This is maybe not as bad as it could have been. Alright, there's an Exile. 11 mana. I am not going to narrate the tedium of my opponent repeatedly untapping Grim Monolith with Voltaic Keys and stuff as they float mana. I'm going to give you the relevant stuff. New Voltaic Key. Grim Monolith continues the chain. Ooh, that probably just immediately kills me from 40 mana, right? Just like Tutor for Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista gets me. Yeah, I will concede to that. I am not making you click through that. Alright, so now I suspect that my opponent does not have a Shadow Spear. I don't know for sure. I think I am just going to call this good. We just kind of bottomed out in the mid game, and I couldn't capitalize. We were still surprisingly close to getting there. Alright. Ancient Tomb, Patchwork Automaton into turn 2 Patchwork Automaton, Lotus Petal, or alternatively turn 2 Synthesizer. This is probably fine. What if I start on Synthesizer? I guess I'm not guaranteed to draw the next land drop that I need to do that, so that probably doesn't make sense. Let's Patchwork, not play Lotus Petal, and leave myself that flexibility. Sure. I don't know, maybe I can go for the Synthesizer on turn 1 here, and scry towards a land. Sure. Alright, my opponent is going to have a lot of mana and some Urza Saga construct tokens very quickly. Maybe I have to just, like, go for a Force of Will hand here. Holy fuck. I don't have multiple blue mana here, which is a little unfortunate. I think I'm always doing that, and I'm always doing this. And then, am I holding up Metallic Rebuke? Really awkward to not use my mana offensively here. I think I'm not going to Metallic Rebuke. I think a decent amount of the time I will just lose to their larger Urza Saga construct tokens if I don't play an additional card here. So I'd like to find blue mana, which I did. We'll bottom that, top that, crash in for 4. And we're kind of hoping to get a little lucky here, I'm not going to lie. We did not. So my opponent gets to generate a decent amount of mana with Paradox Engine here, and it's just like, how good is this last card? Not. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My opponent has a 6/6 for the Urza Saga. So hopefully I go wide of what they're doing. I get more selection here. So a 5 mana Sicarian Infiltrator draws me a gajillion? I don't think I need another of those. I think I'll put that on top. Cool. So now we just kind of see how wild things get with my opponent's Urza Saga tokens. The hope is that I play this Sicarian Infiltrator and then end up in a position where I can leave up Metallic Rebuke in a meaningful way. Just get a key, please. Okay, cool. That's probably fine. Yeah, I feel like we've sort of dodged a bullet here. Yeah, that's fine. My opponent dead. So I block with the 4/4. Or I could just take 9, not squad, make 2 Urza Saga construct tokens. Yeah, I wonder if I can just kill my opponent. Maybe I don't even have to kill them. Maybe I just double block here. My opponent kills probably the 6/6. Yeah, I think I'll just double block here and kind of keep my life total and then make a bunch of Urza Saga tokens and go wide of what my opponent is doing. I don't think I need to risk going that low on life total. Cast with squad. I'll squad once. I could do this with flash. I don't think I want to, though, because I can just get a whole bunch of Patchwork Automaton triggers. All right. So we have a lot of triggers. I'll draw a card, squad, then do this again. Yeah. Disgusting. I did not draw the blue source that I wanted, but I drew Force of Will, which is basically the same thing. And I will swing for lethal next turn with Force of Will for whatever my opponents, literally whatever my opponents draw for turn is, and their multiple Urza Saga tokens just don't matter. So this card is slow, but scoreboard. That card doesn't matter. Yeah. We are now playing for a trophy, folks. All right, playing for the trophy. Land, Lotus Petal, Patchwork Automaton, no reasonable follow-up. I don't see a reason to keep that on 7. All right. Ancient Tomb into Patchwork, into Shadow Spear and Equip. And I try to follow up with some Thought Monitors. This is reasonable. I think I will get rid of the Gaia's Cradle. I am not overly excited about this hand, but a scaling, life-linking Patchwork Automaton does a lot of work versus a fair deck. All right, are you fair or unfair, Volcanic Island? You are fair, Volcanic Island. We have a lot of this side of the deck. Here's to hoping that this resolves. It's kind of a big deal for it to resolve in this matchup. Yeah. Flame of Honor. Okay. I probably Artifact Land Cycle this, given that I have 1 artifact in play. Opponent's at 17. I am just going to Artifact Land cycle this now in case my opponent is getting saucy. Do I want access to black mana or do I want an untapped land? I think untapped land, because I am pretty close to casting these. Because Seed of the Synod is basically Ancient Tomb for these, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 towards it. So a 0 cost artifact gets me to Thought Monitor next turn. This is not a creature type for Flame of Honor. It's Wizard. My opponent just straight is it? Seems likely, but I don't know for sure. Mox Opal. Don't mind if I do here. That scales up Patchwork, and then we can start doing things. This is a pretty good counter target for my opponent if they have something. They don't. How much are you now? You are 3. Already played my land drop. My life total is under pressure. So is my opponent's life total. I can probably stop tapping my Ancient Tomb now. Okay. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about blocking with that for 3 life. We'll kind of see how things go. I'm at 8. Don't like drawing that Ancient Tomb. I only have 3 artifacts right now. I think I'm interested in just tapping like this for this card and not losing any life. Like, I'll pay for a daze. Am I getting Bowmastered? Oh, okay, good. Why are we doing that now rather than end of turn? I see. That makes sense. This is worth the 2 life to me. This is 2 cards and 3 life. And we can potentially just keep going here. Frogmite scales us up. Are you castable? You are 2 mana. How rude. 6? Opponent's at 6. I'll do a chump block for 3 here so that a lightning bolt to my face doesn't kill me. Yep, alright. Play around lightning bolt killing me. This is lethal. My opponent needs to play a second main phase blocker, which they did do. And then they can surveil again. Junking a Brainstorm. A Metallic Rebuke is not bad. I'll play out this land with no real intention of tapping it. Let's send in. This block is obligatory. Opponent's at 3. I control 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. I could control 5, making this cost 2. I think I just want to leave up my mana. Like, I died a Lightning Bolt, and I can play around that, hopefully with Metallic Rebuke. If my opponent just makes a land drop, then they can play around the mana leak that I've got. Alright, I am going to let this resolve. I don't want to, like, preemptively fire off this and then just get got by the lightning bolt that I am trying to play around. Alright, that fetches to clear. My Metallic Rebuke should now counter whatever my opponent plays. This is fine. Well, we're not pulling the trigger on the Metallic Rebuke yet. That's a shuffle, that's what I want to see. Absolutely. You can see what I'm drawing, that's fine. I will take that 3 damage. I'm at 3. If my opponent's last card is Lightning Bolt, I can go to 1 and be okay, and then I only die to, like, Bolt Bolt. And they don't have 2 cards, so it can't be Bolt plus Daze. Cool. Now my opponent draws an extra card. Alright, nothing from my opponent here. What weird nonsense do I need to play around? Unsure. I think it's okay for me to make the extra construct token. So we will now Metallic Rebuke. We'll go 1, 2, I think 3. I can still just attack with 2 different bodies. Like, this is fine. Alright, cool. I think I'm pretty well set up here. My opponent doesn't have black from the look of things for Bowmasters, which could be annoying as this game goes along. So conceptually, the easiest way for me to lose is to a Meltdown type card. But the Meltdowns might not eat this higher CMC stuff. I have a bunch of stuff that is of some utility. Like, Soul Guide Lantern can clear out a graveyard. That sometimes matters. Pithing Needle for Wasteland sometimes matters. Spellbomb for a Murktide Reagent will sometimes matter. I kind of want the 2 Flusters, and I'm considering Dismembers as well. It seems unlikely that I want to fetch up Soul Guide Lantern over my other tutor targets. I'm going to board that out. Frogmite seems kind of mid. It seems like a bridge card to this bigger stuff, and it triggers these. Just don't know that I'm excited about drawing it. I think I'll do something like this and just trim some colorless top end. Tapped Mistveil Bridge. 3 mana on turn 2. Do this thing, draw a card, play Mox Opal. In theory, have 1, 2, 3 artifacts in play. So Flusterstorm is on. Start doing this. I don't know that this is just powerful enough. I think I can do better. Stand doesn't do anything. Hard nope from me. Turn 1, land drop of some kind. Probably Ancient Tomb so that I can cycle this. Turn 2, land drop into Synthesizer. This is going to be a keep. I don't really have time for that. And Mox Opal's not on for quite a while. Am I sure about that? This gets an artifact land. Artifact land plus this plus Mox Opal lets me play around days, but then I don't have gas left over for this. Let's assume that Synthesizer finds me something else. Let's keep Opal. I'm scared of turn 1 DRC. Yeah, okay. Cool. Oh god, that's so much life. I specifically just said that I was scared of this card. I'm going to do this in the way that plays around days. Fuck. Greatness at any cost. Okay, it's dead. Don't wasteland me. I really fucking need this Ancient Tomb. What did I say? I said that I was afraid of DRC, you played DRC. I said don't wasteland me, you wastelanded me. How dare you? How dare you? We're so dead. So absolutely dead. My opponent gets 2 effective chances at flipping their Delver by targeting themselves with Bobble too. So this will be stacked in the way that flips the Delver. Yeah, we are just going to get tempoed. I don't regret the keep. I don't regret using the Dismember. But things sure did line up poorly for me. Metalcraft not quite a thing yet, meaning that I can't cycle for a land to get this going. I think even if I get this going, it just like doesn't matter. My opponent recognizing that just sends a bolt at my face, and then they can surveil. Got 4 types in graveyard now, if that matters. And they liked their draw. I don't know that I ever beat this Delver. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Want to meltdown me for the perfect victory? No, it's a small Murktide Regent. Regardless, we're dead. Unfortunately, this is what Game 3 exists for, right? Maybe on the play I do this flip-flop. Just lean into making this more aggressive if it resolves. I mean, yeah. We are great against things that are not Wasteland. And hopefully we can recover if my opponent does have Wasteland. Boots? Probably Boots here. I don't think we need to play out the Lotus Petal immediately. So ideally, I would like my constructs to not be lightning boltable. We'll see whether or not that's a reality. The ward one helps. Like that's a start. Take your draw. A new Urza Saga. I don't mind that. So yeah. I can make a 3/3. Or I can make a 2/2 and give it ward. I think I'm just gonna pass the turn. I don't think I want to dismember into days here. So I always want to activate Urza's Saga. This is a really big wasteland turn for my opponent. I think if I get a Shadow Spear or a Pithing Needle in play, life becomes real hard for my opponent. Love seeing that. I guess my opponent now wants to see some sort of Null Rod type card. Sure. This is a lot of selection to find Meltdown. I don't think I'm dismembering. I think my prospects for that are just a little bit better later on. I'll go to 17. I take a lot of damage off my Ancient Tomb. That's all just gonna come back though from a Shadow Spear. So these are now 4/4s. These are now 5/5s. I think my best line versus Meltdown is just to get the next Urza Saga going and gain like 5 life here. Just confirm I've already made my land drop. I have. Bash in, gain 5. Alright, my opponent's at 13. And ooh, that's very good. Wasteland plus Meltdown would do it. Flame of Honor. They don't have a wizard. Alright, they are just taking out my Shadow Spear so that I can't gain more life, but this means I'm not getting Wastelanded? And those have to attack? Sure? My opponent's just dead on board, right? So, play land, activate. These are 4/4s. Equip 1, get haste. This is lethal damage. Show me a free spell. They did not show me a free spell. And in breaking in my new account, I immediately trophy. So, is this card cracked? Is this deck cracked? What do I think here? It feels to me like this is a highly competitive legacy deck. I don't think I like some of the things around the edges of this deck. I don't like Gaia's Cradle here. I think it's very good when you're winning and everything is going right. I think I straight up would just like to have another island in the deck list so that I just have that consistency. Like, because sometimes I need to play land drop on turn 1 into thing on turn 2. Actually, maybe even Underground Sea over Island. Just one more black mana source for this card. This deck leans into Simulacrum Synthesizer and makes it strong. I still agree with my initial assessment that the floor of this card is so incredibly low. The ceiling's very high. I think this is going to shine in control matchups. I don't know that playing this card is worth putting this stuff in your deck. Like, this is not particularly a legacy power level card, neither is this. And this is Sketch. It's very good with the synthesizer, though. I will give it that. It feels like most of my wins were just with Patchwork Automaton and Ancient Tomb Urza Saga. Having this as another aspect of the artifact-based plan does seem good. Is it worth doing this to your deck, though? Like, these things are not good in opening hands, really. They're good in the mid-game. I'm a little unsure about this. Like, this was often casting me 5 life or 4 life to do with squad, which is like, I generally speaking like what I see here. I think this deck is good. I give it my thumbs up, like seal of approval. I would be perfectly comfortable playing this in a competitive tournament. I wonder if 6 months from now this still sees play, or if people will default back to the more traditional 8-cast builds. that I am not sure about. Like, this card does not race combo, is one of my biggest complaints. And this card is often not going to be great versus tempo either. Like, it's 3 mana, it's quite counterable. It pushes you towards having a higher average converted mana cost in your deck, making you worse against days. But I am intrigued by what's here and would very much enjoy playing more. Let me know down in the comments below kind of what you think about this. And should you need some Simulacrum synthesizers, consider checking them out from toamagic.com while using promo code ThrabenU. Folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!